What's going on, Denver? What's going on, Metro? We are here live in the studio for the Get Right Mind Body podcast. I'm here with my co-host, Leo.
What's going on, guys?
We're going to talk about all things mind, body, fitness, nutrition, health, meditation, you name it. Let's go!
My girl asked me what I wanted out of life and shit. I told her a place to raise my kids where police would not approach them, and they can rest in peace without circles from the vultures, and never be beaten just for speaking on their culture. And this to me seems like the way that life's supposed to be. And every day I get a little bit closer, but the devil trying to.
What's going on, Leo?
I am good.
You doing well today?
I'm doing well.
Awesome. I'm doing well myself.
Yeah. School is killing, though. So much homework.
It's gotten busy.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Especially for you. You got 5 classes. I just got the 2.
Yeah, I know. Homework on days.
Yeah.
Days on days on days.
Yeah. What 5 classes are you taking?
Legal liabilities, special populations for fitness programming, level 1 and 2, anatomy and physiology 2.
Oh, wow. That's
and cultural diversity and health and illness, which is a really interesting class.
Is that a part of our exercise
It's
science
not.
program?
It's actually for my minor.
What's your minor?
Pre-healthcare. I just need a global diversity.
Because you're going for PT eventually.
Eventually, yeah. But, I mean, everyone in Metro needs a minor. So
yeah, no.
We need to do that.
I haven't actually picked one.
No?
I think I have a associate in business management, so I think the best move would be to apply as much of that as I can to like a business minor.
Well, that's what I did, actually. So I went to the Office of Professional Studies, and the guy, he's a really cool guy, Jeff Helton, he helped me apply a lot of my community college credits to my minor. So this is the only class that I have to take for my minor.
Oh.
This one class
really?
that I'm taking now, yeah.
Well, maybe I'll get lucky like that.
Yeah, it's dope.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like because I'm only taking 2 classes, it's nice and easy, but it is like painstakingly slow.
Yeah, but it's okay. It's okay.
It's fine.
You got this.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. When is your graduation? Expected graduation?
No
idea.
No clue. I know I have 7 classes.
We're in the same boat. I haven't calculated it yet.
I got 7 classes left, but it sucks because literally 4 of my classes, it's like one class is a prereq for the next class. And then the next one is a prereq for the next. So it's I don't know how it's going to work out.
It gets a little complicated, a little convoluted.
Yeah.
That's cool. So we took off last week because of said schoolwork, because of too much going on. So we took off from the pod last week, but we are here doing it live.
Yeah, first live episode.
Yeah.
First live.
We recorded on video last time, so that was a first. Broadcasting live on the Met Radio, so this is a first. So it's pretty sweet. Pretty excited about it.
Pretty excited too.
So for anybody that hasn't listened to our show, this is a mind body podcast. So we're talking about health, nutrition, wellness, fitness, a lot of different things. Pretty much whatever kind of comes across our path, which is a lot. Just because I think we both are curious about different things involving self-help and psychology,
personal development, just making ourselves better, one day at a time.
Exactly. So that's what we're doing here, and we're doing a series. We decided because we started our first episode on visualization, and that brought up a conversation about the 7 habits of highly effective people, which led to a conversation of habit 2, which is what we're talking about, which we're going to talk about today, just coming from a different angle, because I think all of the habits, there's a lot to them, and so you can it's hard to just sum it up real quick. But the first time we spoke about it, I was bringing up visualization, and you talked about beginning with the end in mind.
Yeah, it just so just a little background if you guys haven't watched the first episode or the second episode. Seven Habits is Seven Habits of Highly Effective People. It's a book by Stephen Covey. It was rated like one of the best books in personal development and leadership in like the, I guess, late 20th century. I don't know the exact statistics, but
yeah, I got
30 million copies sold, something like that.
Yeah, the book I have or I found it at the library here, and it was the 25th anniversary edition, and it's fantastic. It's a huge book. It's been used by so many people.
Yeah,
so many people. The author Stephen Covey, basically he studied like self-help, self-improvement, like pop psychology, like pretty much anything he could get his hands on that was written in the United States since 1776, the birth of the nation, about success. And he basically, what he realized that he looked at is like the dynamic changed over the 50 years prior to him writing the book, that what a lot of success was based on when the country was formed was a lot of things that you would consider of character, which he calls the character ethic. And it's things like being industrious, like honesty, integrity, things that would make someone have quality character. And he noticed that the 50 years prior to him writing the book, that it had changed to what he calls the personality ethic. And the personality ethic was basically where you're trying to mimic parts of a successful person's personality.
Public image.
Or what ingredient makes them successful, and trying to mimic that specific behavior, as opposed to just working on being having character and being a quality human being, for lack of a better word or phrase. And so he wrote this book, and there's obviously 7 habits to it. And the first habit was proactivity is the number 1 habit. The second habit is beginning with the end in mind. And we kind of spoke to it, so we won't beat it to death. But one thing that we didn't bring up last time was he talks about the most important part of the second habit, which is beginning with the end in mind, is creating a personal mission statement.
So personal mission statements, super important. It's the blueprint to someone's life. So last episode, I was talking about like imagining your funeral. I think it was maybe either last episode or the first episode. I was talking about imagining your own funeral and seeing the people that would speak in your funeral, and see what would they say on your behalf about you, and like what kind of character you have. So it's the same thing with this. Is if you make your own personal mission statement, you have to see what your life is about. What are you about as a person? What kind of values you hold? What kind of things you want to accomplish in your life? And you have to work. You have to start from the end and work your way backwards, which is start with the end in mind. So.
And he said create a mission statement for yourself that would apply to your entire life.
Exactly.
Which would involve beginning with the end in mind. Just happened this week to pop up mission statements popped up in 2 aspects of my life. The first was we were creating a logo for the show, and we were told to come up with a mission statement for the audience to give them an idea of like what kind of logo they would want to make for us. And so the mission statement I came up with was, our mission is to explore the mind and body and educate our audience on our own personal journeys through mental wellness, fitness, and nutrition. That came up simultaneously. My work email, like at the bottom, you're supposed to create a mission statement, and I work in healthcare, And so I started typing, my mission is to provide compassion and care, ... And then I just left. I just erased 2 of the dots and just left period and put my mission is to provide compassion and care, because it can get a little challenging. I think it's a little easier talking about the podcast or, more of an idea than when you get personal. It gets a little tricky because it's all this self-help stuff. Like, we love it, but it is by nature just a little bit cheesy. And so you're trying to not be like super cheesy, but you want to be honest. And so I did come up with a personal mission statement. So mine was, this is not for work. So for work, I've left it at my mission is to provide compassion and care. But my personal mission statement just in life that I did for the 7 Habits is, my mission is to provide for my family, support my friends, show kindness to strangers, compassion to the ill, love to animals, to work hard, learn, and share my blessings.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a similar one.
Did you steal mine?
Yes. Just thought about it just right now.
Word for word.
Yep, exactly.
Copied and pasted.
No, but I'm still working on it. What I came up with one like very recently. So mine is to grow on a daily basis in some capacity and to offer value to other people. So obviously that needs a lot of work. It's very basic, but that's the essence of it, because I know in my life I definitely want to do something every single day to, face fear, or that's a big one, and accomplish some sort of goal that I have. Don't stay stagnant, grow in some capacity, and then also contribute to others, offer value, give before taking from others. That's just my general, I guess, what I'm about.
When you do this, it really does take you back to that character ethic.
Absolutely,
because it's integrity, and it really demonstrates how you value yourself as a human being. You said, beginning with the end in mind, like at your own funeral, how would they speak about your character? But something you said I wanted to elaborate on. When you said about like facing your fears every day, I was talking to my brother. My brother and I both do Jiu-jitsu. Shout out to Easton Training Center. But I was talking to him about it, and it's when you go in, like there's a lingering fear, anxiety, discomfort, and doing a muscle memory, or doing a muscle or a body movement that you've never done before, like when you're doing like a drill. And I was telling him, 2 weeks ago, like we went on Sunday, which they do their curriculum starting on Sunday, and so then we went again on like Tuesday and Thursday, and I was telling him, I was like, man, it's almost like the importance of getting in there and doing it a couple of days a week is, it's almost like learning to ski. How, like, if you take 3 days to learn the ski, the first day, all you're going to do is learn how to walk around in the skis, how to get up from falling. Like, there's no actual skiing involved. Yeah. It's embarrassing, it's uncomfortable, it's painful. Then the second day, you might learn a little bit more how to how to actually just stay upright as you're actually like moving, but till the third day is probably the first time where you're like that same feeling you have the first time riding a bike. Right. When you're like, oh crap, I'm doing this. And it's almost like, it feels like, I don't know, it's just this really freeing feeling. But I was telling him, it's almost like every week going in here, it's like learning to ski.
Yeah, no.
It's like that same thing.
It's still like, it's still like awkward to talk on camera for me and to talk on a podcast. It's never done anything like this before.
It's not, it's something that, it takes a little getting used to. But overcoming your fears is like, it's huge. Yeah. That's one thing I do like about the jiu-jitsu is you do that like every day. I mean, every day you go in and you overcome your fear. So
Stephen Covey calls it private victories versus public victories. He says habits 1 through 3 are private victories, which is like, it really takes a lot of character to build up, to like do things in private based on your own integrity, to like, that's just like you saying like, I'm coming into the jiu-jitsu studio practicing every single day. You know, like, even though people don't see me, like, I'm not doing it for my image, I'm doing it for myself to grow my talents. Right, versus doing something to show off to somebody or like to look good, which are like the public victories. Habits 4 through 6, which are good too, they're very important, but you can't skip the private victories. You have to work in private before. It's like they say, like, you become, like, people think you become a millionaire in like overnight, but it takes 10 years to build up in private, and then everybody sees overnight.
It's a lot of self-improvement. I mean, for lack of a better word, just like falling on, or a better phrase is just like falling on your face and failing and like getting out of your comfort zone. And, you know, even like you said, what we're doing now, it's like, we've been doing this like a month, you know what I mean? It's like, you kind of have to learn quick because you're putting yourself out there, and, you know, you don't want to embarrass yourself, but there's no way to grow if you don't get out of that comfort zone. That's where growth always is. It's like, I don't remember there is a quote, like, you know, that you know, your dreams are like one step outside of like your comfort zone. Like all of your dreams, like, you know, the things you want in life, they're like literally just a step beyond your comfort zone.
Very true.
You know, and it's not 10 steps, it's just literally one step beyond your comfort zone, and you continue to do that.
Which feels so uncomfortable until you do it. People just want to stay in their comfort zones. And that's why people stay stagnant and like just deteriorate, because you can't really stay stagnant. You can either get better or get worse. You can't. There's no such thing as just remaining where you are.
True. Yeah, that's
if you don't get better, you get worse.
That's true. That's true.
You gotta.
One thing we talked about during the break is we were talking about we both had a class. I've had 2 now that have mentioned it, but this podcast talks a lot about wellness, and it's the dimensions of wellness, and growth can be applied to all of these things, but the dimensions of wellness are things in your personal life, that combined, they're all individual, but combined have all of them have an impact on your overall wellness, which you know, wellness is different from being healthy, or, you know, definition of health might have been lack of disease or lack of sickness, but wellness is something different.
It's a multidimensional thing, you know. I was curious to ask you, and I could go first, but we'll mention what they are, but then I was going to speak on the ones that I think I'm strongest at, and then I was going to have you go. So there's a couple different lists. So mine has 7. How many does yours have? Mine is 9.
9? Okay. You read the 9 then.
Okay, so yeah, I'm just going to read. We learned in a few classes that there's like different dimensions of wellness, but there's multiple lists. Some have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I found this list with 9 dimensions. So I'm going to read them off. So we have emotional wellness. We have career wellness, social wellness, spiritual wellness, physical wellness, financial wellness, intellectual wellness, creative wellness, and environmental wellness. Okay. So, I just wanted to say one more thing. So, Jeff and I actually met up, a few days ago, and we were going over things for the podcast, and we were watching these videos about the 7 habits of highly effective people, and Stephen Covey himself was talking in these videos, and he brought up a quote by who was it? You know what I'm talking about?
Was it Gandhi?
Gandhi quote. He says, I don't remember, I'm paraphrasing the quote, but he says, if if you do wrong in one area of your life, you cannot simultaneously do right in another area of your life. So it's pretty much saying you have to be a balanced person. You can't knowingly be lacking in one area of your life and be a full person. You can't be a complete person without having balance. So we kind of related that to these dimensions of wellness, in that one affects the other. So, for example, if you're not, say, socially well, say you have like a deficit, like say you don't have really good social skills, you're not going to be very good in career wellness, because like you need to use social skills in order to advance yourself in your career, and and you can make those kinds of parallels between pretty much any of the dimensions. If you lack in one, you're going to lack in another or multiple.
What are the three you think you're strongest in?
Strongest? Well, I've definitely improved in a lot of them. I feel like I used to be like poor in all of them. Probably I've just worked in myself. But
good, man. That's awesome.
I think now I think social, like I'm getting better and better every day. But getting emotional. I think I'm a lot better with this whole meditation. Meditation's helping a lot with emotional wellness, like just not as reactive to bullshit. We'll edit that out later. But
speaking of emotional wellness, we talked about tracking, or I spoke about tracking destructive emotions, and part of my meditation practice, which for those that are listening for the first time, Leo and I both meditate. We do two different types of meditation. I do mindfulness meditation, and he does transcendental. And so this isn't a part of your practice, is it? Emotional, or keeping track of your
not in a systematic way, but okay. I think it by default, like by doing this meditation, you just by default get better at those things.
So I wish I had like done a tally prior to picking back up my practice, say 2 months ago, because for the past month I've been really strong with it. But just 6 emotions that I tracked were anger, resentment, guilt, fear, anxiety, and jealousy. And I was pretty proud. I did an average of them, of a score 1 to 10, and it was less than 2. So that's
awesome.
Yeah, really good. I mean,
yeah, you're much more organized than me in that area.
I don't always track them. I'm supposed to, but I don't always. But I need to, because it's it's subjective in that you're given the responses, but it's almost like an objective measurement of your emotional well-being. So
that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah. So I happened to track it, and so I thought I would bring it up.
What about you? What are your strong areas?
I would say right now I would say career. I would say creative, because of the podcast. I realize I have a creative. I need a creative outlet. This helps me a lot. Doing this.
Funny thing about I guess for me too, actually, creative is getting better, because I wouldn't consider myself a naturally creative person, but I feel like when you give yourself a medium to let your ideas flow without thinking about them first, I feel like that helps creativity in a way.
Yeah. And I mean, just taking in this information, processing it, and delivering it. I mean, that's what that is creating. It's not a canvas, it's not an instrument, and it's not anything like that. But I mean, it's the same thing Stephen Covey did. Writing the book is went through 200 years of information and pulled from it, and ended up writing this whole series of books on it. And so we're doing it on a micro level,
sure.
Basically taking the information we're actively studying, and just our meditation practices, our life experience, the stuff we're learning from exercise science, and also like what we're doing with nutrition, which we'll get into later. Yeah, we're like, and just anything that comes across, that we can talk about is, where I have to go through filter through it and come out, in a creative way that people are, interested in listening to, watching, learning about.
Yeah, I also wanted to speak a little bit about, while we were on these like dimensions of wellness, like what are our weak points? Maybe say like 2 weak points. Like here, I'll start. Okay. Something I really need to work on right now is financial wellness.
Me too. I'm terrible because
I spend way too much. I spend outside of my means, and like I want to create like a passive income, and I just want to do a bunch of things with finances, and I'm overwhelmed with school right now because of all these classes, but still need to work on that.
Yeah, I've been budgeting. I have gotten better about it because I got into like a lot of debt like years ago, and I've been like chipping away at it for so long.
It's tough.
Yeah. So finally, my living situation has changed, and that.
I saw your new house.
Yeah,
really cool.
So my girlfriend Ayamka bought a house, and I moved in with her, and so I had been living on my own for like 3 years, and it's just expensive to live in Denver on your own, like any other big city.
Very
so
expensive.
That helps because there was not a lot of room to save, and that's the struggle. That's the struggle. Yeah. Have you ever read The Total Money Makeover?
No.
By Dave Ramsey. Yeah, you should check it out. Like it's really good. Yeah, he's like a financial self-help guy, and he breaks it down in real simple, like the steps that you take to being financially secure. I can provide you with some of the information, but like he takes your debt, and you create like a is it called a snowball? Yeah, a debt snowball. So you take all your debt and you start paying the minimum on all of your debt except for the smallest one, and that smallest one you pay as much as you can until you pay it off. Basically, you write down how much you have to pay the minimum on all of your debt. That first month you do it, and you try to pay that same amount every single month. So then you pay the first one off, and then you get to the next one, and you're still pay the same amount every single month, but now you're applying more to the next one. And so when that one gets paid off, you apply more to the next one. So you do that over and over, and you eventually get out of debt. And then like one of the first steps you take, you either get an emergency fund of like $500 or $1,000. You're supposed to basically save up like in case you lost your job, like 3 months. Your first thing is like either $500 or $1,000 emergency fund. But then after that, you save up like a 3 to 6 month emergency fund based on how much you would make in 3 to 6 months. So you pay off all your debt. You do those emergency funds. You try to use like a system where every single dollar is accounted for on every single check. And eventually you get up to like a $10,000 emergency fund, and you start divesting, but investing in things. But he really breaks it down in a really easy to understand way. So it's pretty cool. He has a podcast, a radio show, and he does a lot of work in like his program. He's a big Christian, so his program is taught in a lot of churches. Like they have like workshops and stuff like that they can do in church. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I started an emergency fund actually, I think a year ago. Kind of been pulling from it, but
it happens.
Yeah, I actually started reading Tony Robbins' book on finance. Have you heard of Tony Robbins?
Yeah, I've never read read anything by him.
Yeah, I didn't even finish, honestly. I just started reading, and then I just got too busy with other stuff. But I did read a part about the emergency fund. So he says like, I think he said like $2,000. No, I did $2,000. I don't remember what he said. He said some number, but yeah. Well,
yeah.
The point is, I need to work on financial stuff.
I mean, if you can keep from accruing debt is the main thing. Like Dave Ramsey says, the only thing you should actually I guess there's two things that you should actually take a loan out on. One is college, and the other's a house, because both are investments.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
But everything else, he says, if you can't afford to pay for it or save up for it, just don't get it. Don't do it. So,
okay.
But that is a great resource for anybody else out there that's struggling in college, which is probably,
everybody,
in college.
Yeah,
because your time is pulled in many different directions, and a lot of those directions aren't paying until you get out and find some full time.
You got to
work.
invest in yourself before you get paid.
Yeah, exactly. I would say with me, the places I am weak, financial, emotional, and social. And I say social because I kind of had fallen off the grid. I got off of social media entirely. I was just kind of over it. And just moving from Georgia out here, I kind of lost connections with a lot of friends. Not that we're not friends anymore. It's just we used to talk daily, weekly, monthly, whatever. And then it's once a year, that kind of thing.
Right.
So I would say social, I need to work on more. And even though my destructive emotions were good on this given day that I recorded this, they could have been way worse because I have a lot of work to do on myself in this department, and so that and financial, So not too dissimilar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still work. I mean, you can't be perfect on any of them. Even your strong points can get stronger.
Yeah.
So,
I will say so. If we'll talk about physical, not so I do.
Physical's a big one for me.
Yeah. So I do.
Big one.
I like to work out. I do work out. And I always have off and on, but my diet has not been great. So we decided one thing that would kind of make this podcast fun is for us to do 30-day challenges. And I started 2 days ago the Mediterranean Diet Challenge. So I'm 2 days in. We looked through a few different shopping lists, grocery lists, and I think the one we settled on that was the simplest, which just to back up a little bit, you had already gone grocery shopping, regular food, and so
I haven't started yet.
You haven't started yet, but I went ahead and started. Yeah. And the way I did it is I took this list, and the most simple one I got was the Dr. Oz Mediterranean Diet shopping list, and he breaks it down into categories: canned foods, seafood and meat, frozen food, pastas, grains and starches, dried food, dairy and cheese, nuts and oils, and spices. And so I basically, I don't know if people out there know what ClickList is, or there are things you can order you can get on the website of a grocery store. The one I happened to get on was King Soopers, which would be Kroger or whatever it's called in other places, other parts of the country. But I took this list and then I got on there and I started ordering food. And here's some of the foods that you would buy. So in canned, it'd be like mushrooms, tomatoes, corn, and beans. And there's a lot of beans, a lot of lentils, and a lot of legumes in this legumes in this diet. Is that how you say it? Legumes. I was adding a little
French.
A little flair, a little French inflection. Yeah. But white beans, kidney beans, black beans, red beans, pinto, green, and navy. Are you a bean eater?
I do like beans, yes.
That's good.
I like black beans.
Yeah, you know what? But I think black beans are the beans I eat the most, just because of Mexican food or burritos or whatever.
Chipotle.
And so I'm a little burnt. I think I'm a little burnt out on them finally after years and years. So that's probably the one I've eaten the most. I think I do like all beans. I don't think there's any I don't really like. Seafood and meat. So he has chicken thighs, lean ground beef, bone and pork chop, eye of round steak, and then seafood, salmon, tuna, and chicken. And it's not just the menu items, but there is a Mediterranean diet pyramid, which is like the old diet. And we will by the way, we'll post this stuff to our show notes, which will be posted on mymetmedia.com, and you can look it up under the radio tab. You'll find our show Get Right, and we'll
also YouTube.
And also YouTube. We got a YouTube channel, Get Right. What is exactly the YouTube channel? Is Get Right?
It's Get Right with an exclamation point.
Exclamation point. And
we might have to change it though.
Why?
Just so we can people can search it a little better. There's a Beyonce song, I think, called Get Right.
It was J-Lo.
Was it J-Lo?
Yeah.
So she kind of.
Well, that can be our goal, is to surpass J-Lo one day.
True.
I think it had like 8 million hits or something. Yeah, so I don't know if we'll get there. But basically, the old food pyramid that everybody remembers. Well, I don't know. I don't know if you remember it. They changed it in the 90s.
Yeah.
Okay.
They changed it recently, not the 90s.
Oh,
they changed
it
90s?
Okay.
2000s.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. But at the top, they have meats and sweets. This would be the least amount that you would eat.
This is a pyramid for the Mediterranean diet.
Mediterranean diet.
Which still applies today.
Yes. Underneath that, you have poultry, eggs, cheese, and yogurt. Moderate portions, daily to weekly. There's 4 categories, so that was the second. Mm-hmm. Third, fish and seafood, often at least 2 times per week. And then the biggest category is fruits, vegetables, grains, mostly whole grains, olive oil, beans, nuts, legumes, and seeds, herbs, and spices. Yeah. Base every meal on these foods. Every meal on fruits, vegetables, grains, mostly whole grains, olive oil, beans, nuts, legumes. You say it. Now I'm like self-conscious about the way I say
legumes.
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 I don't know. I've been saying that probably my whole life.
Yeah.
Legumes.
So like a big theme is like try to limit simple carbs, try to limit processed foods, trans fats, saturated fats.
Yeah.
So you want to eat a lot of like oils, which are unsaturated, a lot of lean protein. You can do red meat, but not too much. Not in high quantities.
Yeah. And so I
healthy fats too.
I've posted my first 2 days on Instagram and Twitter at @JRyanRitchie, and I've already gotten in trouble because the first day I ate steak and pork chops on the same day.
Come on, man.
but it was just like I already had a steak that I'd already made, and I started grilling. Like Naamka has a grill, and we have a little backyard area, and I just love to grill. And it's been so long since I've done it because I've lived in an apartment for.
Have you ever heard of the
3
air
years.
fryer?
Air fryer.
Or air fryer? Yeah, I think it's called the air
like
fryer.
An infrared?
No, it's not an infrared. It's like a fryer, but it's without like all the unhealthy oils. It's called an air fryer, I think. But it's supposed to be healthy. I haven't done any research on it, but I just heard about it.
I like grilling because grilling is also healthy. But I put some. I don't know how healthy this is, but have you had Slap Your Mama, the seasoning from?
No.
Naamka's brother brought it back from New Orleans, and holy moly, it's so good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so good.
Gotta try it.
All right, I put that on there. I think it's just like, it's literally just like salt, pepper, garlic, and like cayenne or something. But
it's pretty healthy.
It's like the perfect. Yeah, it's not bad. Because pepper, garlic, and cayenne. I mean, there's nothing wrong at all with those. And salt. I mean, obviously the sodium's going to be high, but if you regulate it, it's salt is not bad.
Salt's good for you.
Yeah, salt's not bad. It as long as you like get your levels tested, and your sodium intake isn't like extremely high, then it's okay with doing salt. Oh, by the way, so I went by right before the podcast. I didn't tell you this. I went by the student health center over there because I wanted to test my blood now and compare it at the end of the 30 days. My problem is I just switched jobs and I'm in between insurance. But I got like a list of like the tests that you can do over there. So you have to pay. You get, if you don't have insurance, they give you half off. So half off all these prices. You would pay an initial fee to any students out there that are interested. The Student Health Center, you can go get a ton of stuff done, a bunch of testing done. You can. There's a lot of like counseling that they can set you up with. There is there's a multitude of things that they can do for you. But you would have to pay an initial fee to, I guess, the provider who's ever seeing you, like doctor or PA, whoever. Plus like a fee. It's almost like a la carte. Like you order what Like you could order what tests you want, which is kind of cool. But I looked at them, so like it would be half off all these prices. So I'll just read what the half off price would be. To get a blood glucose would be like $250. To get your hemoglobin would be $250. A complete blood count, which a hemoglobin would be in, I think glucose too. It'd be like $350.
We're talking dollars?
Yeah, dollars.
That's expensive.
Yeah, I know.
It's really expensive.
If you don't have insurance, yeah, this is why I didn't do it. But you could check like you can get a basic metabolic panel for like $4. So I'm sure there's a way, like you don't have to get all of these done, that you could just get like maybe 3 of these done, which is I was going to do, but I just happened to like not have insurance for like until like April 1st. So
just say wait for your insurance.
Yeah.
For
So
sure. Yeah.
I just wanted to do it because I'm doing the 30-day challenge, and I was curious, like I would, to do like a before and after. But it's
I had to put it on the back burner for a little bit.
I'll be curious. I can still compare it to whatever labs I got done last time I got my labs done. I don't remember when it was. Within the past 6 months, year, and compare it. But yeah, that would be pretty cool. I would be curious to see how they changed. Especially we're learning a lot in class about we're taking a class called Special Populations 2, and we're learning a lot about like cardiovascular disease and diabetes and what other
we just did prenatal, so like women during pregnancy and post-pregnancy, and we're doing cancer next week.
Yeah, we're learning a lot of disease processes and how what exercise guidelines you would use with these specific special patient populations or client populations, and how to exercise with them. And but we did start off with hypertension, diabetes.
Yep.
And and so
what else did we?
It's pretty rampant in this country right now. So this Mediterranean diet was actually brought up by our teacher Summer. And we were like, hey, we were just talking about that on the podcast. So funny enough. So if you want to track my progress, check me out on Twitter, JRyanRitchie, and you can track my progress on there. But it's so healthy. Like I'm just realizing how much bad food I eat. Like I was at work, and I work in healthcare. And hospitals
are the least healthy
worst, man.
Field.
They eat the worst food. It's just like sweets, man. Yeah. Every day, somebody's bringing in something sweet.
For sure.
Cookies, candy, donuts. Like we all drink a ton of coffee, and coffee's not bad for you. But like,
how many of your coworkers smoke cigarettes, by the way? Probably a bunch.
No, actually not many. So the healthcare field has changed tremendously. So when the hospital I first started at, I started 10 years ago. I'm a respiratory therapist. They would tell me, like, say 20 years prior to me starting there, that there was no, like, now there's state laws. You can't smoke on hospital campuses in Georgia. You can't smoke on a hospital campus in Colorado. It's a pretty standard state law. But
I didn't know that.
At the time, it wasn't. And, like, so the patients would have their own ashtrays in their rooms.
Wow.
And they said, like, there was, like, a doctor there was a surgeon who would, like, always be walking down the hall of the hospital with a cigar in his hand, like smoking a cigar. And like the respiratory department was notorious for having, like, they called it like a bloomin' onion, like an Outback, like the ashtray was just full of so many cigarette butts and nobody would empty it. It's just terrible.
Wow.
But now in healthcare, you can't smoke on campus. So
like even the nurses, right? Or
nobody can smoke on the hospital campus. No. So like there are some people who will like have someone hold their phone, get in their car and drive around. But they're like that's pretty hard, like hardcore, like for a cigarette. I mean, to like, because you only get a 30-minute break. It's like, do you want to ride around smoking a cigarette or get food? You know what I mean? But yeah, actually, that same hospital I was speaking about in Georgia, like, it was funny enough, like, right off the hospital campus, like, the closest place to smoke was, like, right in front of a graveyard. So you would see all these smokers out there, and it would be like seeing your ultimate fate if you smoke. It would be like the healthcare providers plus the plus a mix of patients and like visitors. There would be like patients out there. Like one time I saw a dude with an IV pole like out there smoking like right in front of the graveyard, and you're just like, this is
It's like I might as well.
Yeah, you're like, dude, you're one step away, man. You're one
Yeah.
step away. But because they changed this law, you can't smoke on the hospital campus. And now they screen for nicotine to get the job because it lowers insurance rates.
Yeah, I've heard that before,
a lot of people, I mean, maybe they quit and then, start smoking again. But I don't think it's not as common as it used to be. I'll say that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. That's good.
I know. Smoking,
It's a good thing.
Smoking's horrible. So I am obviously part of my job is to teach smoking cessation to people, and I see a lot less smoking in Colorado than I did in Georgia. Maybe because
Colorado's the healthiest state in the whole country.
Yeah,
apparently
that's awesome. We have a kind of a healthier diet, very active lifestyle.
I think it's the mountains too.
Yeah, man, the mountains.
Sure.
The mountains. You can get out. You can do things here around year round, and I think like a lot of people back east, probably even back where you live, like. They see all the snow, and like a lot of my friends in Georgia, like they see the snow and like they don't make the connection that when like the snow dumps, like this state becomes a big playground. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That people hit the mountains, you go skiing, you go snowboarding, people go snowshoeing. There's all kinds of stuff to do. Ice fishing. I mean, like
there's almost more things to do in the winter.
Yeah,
than the summer.
It's fun, and then summer comes around. By the way, this is so weird. Like this morning, I got up to walk the dogs. It was 5:30 in the morning. It was freezing, and you met Tyson, Nyamkanai's dog.
Yep.
He's a miniature pincher. He is 7 pounds of twisted steel and sex appeal, and it was so icy on the ground. Like I had to like pick him up and carry him because he was like he was just slipping left and right. And I got to my car to go to kickboxing this morning. And, I mean, I dang near had to, like, break it out with an ice pick. It was completely iced over. So, I get back from kickboxing, and, like, I don't leave until, like, time for, our class we have together at 11 o'clock. 70 degrees.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. Yeah. I got in my car, and I turned the heat off first because I'm like, it's kind of toasty,
Is it?
And
What is it now?
I'm not sure, but I couldn't believe it. Yeah,
I'm curious.
I couldn't believe it.
It's 47 right now.
47?
Yeah.
Oh, must have changed again.
I think you must have been in the sun.
Maybe.
Your car must have been in the sun.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
I was like, well, how is it so warm?
I was going to say.
But it was still warm enough, and maybe just because it's been so cold lately. Like, I turned the heat off first because it was so hot, and then I turned the air conditioner on, and then I turned the air conditioner up again, and I was like, I was about to, it was like almost like roll the window down weather, just probably because it's been so cold lately. But I thought that was interesting. Well, that makes sense. Maybe it was just the heat off my car because I was like,
I'm looking now. It
70
says
degrees.
Yeah, it says 55 as the high today. So,
which is a big uptick. I mean, it's been in like the single digits in the teens for a lot of for basically our entire semester.
In the past, I used to feel like a lot worse in the winter than I guess like the winter blues or whatever, and so the summer is always like better for me. Yeah, I'm always a bigger fan of like warm than cold.
Let me ask, because we talked about last podcast. You were born in the Ukraine.
Yeah.
How cold was it where you were born?
It's not too different from here.
No? Oh, okay.
I wasn't, like, my grandma and my mom, they lived in, like, pretty much Siberia for a while, like Russia.
Oh, really?
So there was, like negative, like, 30 or whatever.
Oh
yeah, it was crazy. So I think my grandma worked there, so my mom moved there with my grandma for her work. Okay. And, but where I'm from, no, it's not that cold. I mean, it's cold. But
How old were you when you moved here?
I was 7.
7.
Yeah.
And you were talking to your mom the other day when you got off the phone. I was like, was that Russian or Ukrainian? And you said it was Russian. And I asked if you knew. You said you didn't speak Ukrainian.
I used to. But
you used to.
They're similar in a way, but they're still really different languages. But so I guess Ukraine split up into 2 parts. So like half speaks Russian, half speaks Ukrainian.
yeah, because I was going to ask you, like, how close, like, culturally are the two countries?
Oh, culturally, they're super close.
Really close?
But language-wise, they're just
Is it almost like,
languages.
it almost seems like the way...
I mean,
like,
they were the Soviet Union for a while, so...
is it almost like U.S. and Canada? Like,
yeah, like they're
about that close.
Like they're just they have the same holidays, same customs. Like they're the same
very
pretty
similar.
much. It was just because of communism, the Soviet Union, like all those Eastern European countries, they're just like one. You know?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
So,
but about as cold as here.
Yeah,
about the same. Not much difference.
Not too much, I don't think. I haven't been back since like I left. Like I haven't been back to Ukraine since I left. I do want to go really bad actually, but I have not had the opportunity.
Yeah, that sounds like a big trip.
Yeah.
I wonder how long that plane ride is.
I think it's 10 hours.
10 hours.
10 hours, yeah.
Is that the time difference? What is the time?
7 hours.
7 hours?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big difference.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. So, but for next episode, just like a little, speaking of like talking about the end in mind today, keep the end in mind today. I'm just going to give a little overview of like the next few episodes.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna continue with the 7 habits for the next few episodes. We're gonna cover habit 3 next episode, and after that 4, 5, 6, and 7, and we're gonna continue with the Mediterranean diet. Track our results.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff's gonna be posting on Instagram.
That's right.
I might be doing the same. I haven't. Yeah, I'll probably do the same, yeah.
You might as well.
Yeah, I haven't started because I, like Jeff said, I already bought food for this week, so I haven't truly started it, even though I'm trying to eat kind of healthy. But, yeah, we're going to continue with that and, you know, just...
So,
yeah.
Yeah, keep track with us. We're going to be doing this podcast every week, Tuesday at 2, keep track of us on our social media. I can be found at J. Ryan Ritchie on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Yeah, and I am Leo Cop on Facebook and Leo Cop Fitness on Instagram.
And also check out our YouTube channel, Get Right!
Exclamation point.
Yep. And so we're going to delve into next week habit 3. We'll let you guys know what's going on with the Mediterranean diet. We'll talk a little bit more about our meditation practices, and we'll just see what's going on around here out in Denver on the campus, and Yep.
Cool.
So, all right.
Subscribe for our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and we'll see you next time.
See you next week.
Yep.